Hey guys, how are you? Melissa Shaver here, Emerald Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. And I have so many of you asking me about how to share Plexus really casually in the midst of just conversation that you're having every day in your life. And I think that that's what I love the most about Plexus is that we can do this in the midst of living life and doing our thing and our responsibilities as a husband, wife, mom, employee, employer, sports fan, whatever that is, you can interweave this into your life. It's just figuring out, right? It's figuring out how to do it casually. Without just throwing up Plexus on everyone, and your passion towards these products, towards this business, and being able to really be genuine and to build those relationships. And I know that whenever I first started this, I really did become so passionate towards these products because it really was life-changing for me. It changed everything for me. I did not understand how gut health connected with literally everything else in life, and in just my health and our health kind of is a trigger point for our energy, for our perspective, for our mindset, for our desires to be able to even get out there and do things. So whenever you get your gut healthy, like everything changes for you. And so through that, I was like, how do I share this? Just exactly like you're asking me all these questions. I love that we have so many new people running after this opportunity and seeing what this business can do for you in your futures. And I love the questions that you're asking. So in regards to being able to bring up conversation casually whenever you're out with family and friends and new friends and meeting people on the soccer field or at the basketball games or in your Bible studies, in your life groups, out in the community, wherever it is that you do life. But there's a couple of things that I would really tell you that are some of the stuff that I think that you've got to do to prepare yourself to have these conversations. You've got to have that end in mind. And if your end in mind is a conversation and doing it well, then you see that, but then you've got to back up and say, what do I need to do to really be able to have those great conversations and me be fully prepared? So when I got started and wanted to share like crazy, and like everyone I saw, I thought, oh my goodness, this will be so great for you. You've got to do this. I had to kind of do my homework. And that's what I keep telling every one of you, is to do your homework first. So prepare yourself so that when you're in the midst of those conversations, it is so natural for you because you've done your homework. You've thought through it. And so a couple of things that I would say in that is to know your why, right? You got to know why you're doing this business. You've got to know why you even stepped into Plexus. What was it about your health? What was it that you wanted to be different about your health? But then why did you step into this opportunity? Why did you start a business? What does that look like for you? What does it have to do with your children, your family, your finances? The things that you desire to do that you've never been able to do, that possibly this business is going to give you the finances to be able to do those things. Maybe it's your why around parents, college tuition, being able to give to your church, to missions. I don't know what it is for you, but you've got to find that, and it's got to be pretty deep, pretty significant, something that emotionally that you think, oh my goodness, if I could make this happen, like that would change everything for me. It's got to be something because it's going to drive you. It's going to drive you every single day to do this business. Not for 8 hours a day, just for an hour, just for 15 minutes, just for a couple of hours. I don't know. You know what your goals are. You know how you want to work your business, but you've got to do something every single day. You don't have to do tons, but you can't just do it every now and then. You've got to really be consistent. And your why is going to do that. But another great thing about knowing your why so that you can know it in conversations is that you're going to end up sharing some of those things. Stories sell. The facts will tell, and the facts are good. But a lot of times the facts get really overwhelming to hear But story is emotion. Story is where you bring people into your conversation. Story is when all of a sudden they can start seeing visions for their futures and for their health whenever they resonate with what you're saying. So make sure that you've got that piece. Make sure that you know it, that you've thought through it. Say it out loud. Practice it. Share it. Look at yourself in the mirror and be able to share it. That's where it begins to become natural, because you're speaking it over and over again. In the same way, I'm going to tell you that you got to do your homework on answering the question, what is Plexus? What is Plexus? Every conversation you have with people, when you start sharing your love for Plexus, when you start sharing what this opportunity has done for you and your family, people are going to say, so what is Plexus? I mean, I have that happen every single week, sometimes every single day when I'm meeting with people, and all of a sudden they say it. So what is Plexus, Melissa? You got to know how to answer that. So do your homework on that. Write it out, because there's something that happens between the brain and the hand and pencil or hand and pen as you process and write. It really resonates. It goes deep into you. You remember it better. It becomes an emotional piece of what you're doing. And then once again, you've got to practice. You've got to say it over and over again. You've got to say it in a way that's not technical, but casual. You've got to be able to say it in a way that people will kind of lean in and they'll be interested in it. So, Plexus is a health and wellness company, and we really focus on gut health and inflammation and blood sugar stabilization and vitamin deficiency. Now, you can break that down and share what each points of those are, but I wouldn't do that in the beginning. I would just share that piece, and then I would say, it has changed everything about me and my health. It's changed everything for our family. Our entire family is on it. And oh my goodness, it is impacting lives all around me. That's it. You just have to share that little piece, but you've got to practice it. Whenever I first started this business, I had to say it over and over and over again, because I would stumble over my words. I would stumble over because it was new, and I had to get that in me. Even though I was passionate about it, unless I spoke it over and over again, it did not become a casual conversation and a point of ease for me to be able to speak it. So make sure that you're doing that as well. And then you've got to know, guys, you've got to know what it's done for you, right? So every time I'm speaking with you guys, that's my first question. Whenever you're like, how do I share it? My first question is, what benefits have you seen? Do you have better sleep? Are there less cravings? Do you have mental clarity? Do you have more energy? Is it curbing your appetite? Do you realize that you're just a little bit happier every single day, that you smile more, that you're laughing, that you enjoy people, right? So for so many of us, we have such high anxiety and stress that we can't just enjoy life and enjoy people. And this has changed so many people for the better in that regard, that anxiety and that stress, and bringing those levels down. So you need to kind of dig in and say, what is it for me? Like really go through. For a lot of us, we kind of forget. We were silent sufferers forever. And then all of a sudden, this is life-changing for us. But then we quickly forget what it's done. So write those things down. Put it in a file. Put it in a journal that you're not going to lose it. But be able to speak your story. If you are brand new and you're just getting started, say, I don't know, I've just gotten started, but this is what I do know. And guys, know the stories of 2 other people is what I would say. Like, know your story, and if you're just getting started, and then borrow the story of someone else. But for me, I always know my story, and I know 2 other people's stories. Usually those are people that I'm really close to, that I'm friends with. In the beginning, the stories were people that I had pulled their stories. Like, I researched, I looked at stories, I looked at successes, I read through them. I would always have a story that could possibly be something that would resonate with somebody else. So a story that kind of went across all different types of personalities and health issues, so that I can share it. But the greatest way to do it is just to share it with somebody that's really close to you, because then it's personal. So if you're new, that might be your upline. It might be a sideline. It might be me. Come to me, ask me my story so I can share it, and you can share it with other people, right? So know those things and practice speaking them. So you're going to hear me across the board. You've got to practice speaking these things so that it will be natural, so that you won't stumble over your words whenever all of a sudden you're in that conversation and you're like, oh my goodness, like, what do I say back? You're going to know what to say back because you did your homework and you practiced, right? So make sure that you have those pieces. Now, you've done your homework, you've prepared yourself, you've spoken it over and over again, you've got it to where you're not throwing up Plexus on people, but you're just sprinkling it a little bit. You're giving them just a little bit for them to lean into, and then you might share a little bit more, or they might have a question or something like that. So now you're in the conversation, right? What do you need to do to casually bring up Plexus? You need to be a great listener. You need to be genuinely caring about other people and not doing all the talking, but asking really good questions. How they're doing, how's their family? When they share a little bit about their family, don't just say, oh, I'm sorry, or oh, that's great, but ask another question to go a little bit deeper into what's going on so that you can maybe hear their hopes of being able to do something in the future. And maybe that connects to finances, right? Or their incredible concerns because there are health issues going on and the financial burdens of that. But you've got to listen really well. You've got to ask the right questions to be able to get some thoughts out on them, even about what their dreams are, what their hopes are. If they're in a job that they don't like, what would they like to do? What are those things? What would be the perfect job for them? Ask those questions, and as you listen, your mind is going to go, oh my goodness, either wow, they need these products for their health, which across the board everyone does, or ding, 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 oh my goodness, this opportunity could so take care of those burdens or take care of those dreams. Or my goodness, they have that entrepreneur spirit. Without a doubt, they want to know about this opportunity. So make sure you listen, make sure that you ask the right questions. And then lastly, one thing that I love to use is that whole process of the feel, felt, found. So as you're listening and you're taking it in, of being able to say, I know exactly how you feel. I felt that way too. I felt that way a couple of years ago prior to starting Plexus and this opportunity, and this is what I have found. And share with them what it is, whether it's a health process or whether it's a business opportunity. As you're listening, say, I know how you feel, that's how I felt, and this is what I have found. And you can share that with them. Guys, I'm so excited about all the opportunities that you have in front of you. I love that you're wanting to get into these great relationships, really get to know people, love them well, care for them, be genuine and authentic, but be able to casually bring in Plexus because you know, without a doubt, it is life-changing for their health, for their wellness, and for their financial future. And being able to impact lives is the greatest thing that we can ever do, is to be able to love well, impact lives for their futures, for their legacies, for their families. You guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon.